Congressman, I have here the Office of the Inspector General IG report, or the beginning or part of the IG report that was dropped late Friday night. Can you talk to us about this? This is the internal watchdog. Of course, this is about McCabe, Andrew McCabe, misleading investigators and his former boss, Jim Comey, and the leaks to the media regarding an investigation of the Clinton Foundation. What struck you most? What was most important out of this IG report, which was dropped on Friday night?
Well, first of all, I think the Inspector General's report clearly confirms the decision within the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation to fire the Deputy Director of the FBI, Mr. McCabe. It's very unfortunate that a long career on the part of Mr. McCabe would end in the fashion that it did, but based upon this report and the original findings by the Office of Professional Responsibility, by the way, and not a political decision, the Office of Professional Responsibility found that Mr. McCabe took inappropriate actions and then lied about them. And as a result of that, I think it's very important that the Inspector General report is out there now and confirms that the correct decision was made to remove him from office.
So in terms of Andrew McCabe lying 3 times under oath, which is what we learned from this report from the Inspector General, there's also part of this report detailing a phone call which Andrew McCabe took from a higher up at the Department of Justice, the Assistant Attorney General, and he said that that was the most aggressive call he had ever received, where he had to ask that person, "Are you asking me to shut down this investigation of the Clinton Foundation?" Tell us about that. I mean, does that indicate that this goes higher up than we knew in terms of into the Obama administration?
Well, it may very well go higher up. It may even go all the way into the Obama White House. That's why it is so important that the investigation that we launched last fall into how the FBI and the Department of Justice handled the Hillary Clinton email investigation, and the connection between that and how they launched an investigation into the Trump campaign that carried on into 2017 when the president actually took office. The contrast between how the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation handled the investigation into all the aspects of what was going on with Hillary Clinton, with her emails, with the Clinton Foundation, and so on, bending over backwards to not prosecute, to not investigate properly, to not continue to investigate is very disturbing when you compare that to the page-struck email and texts, which indicate very strongly an extreme bias against the Trump campaign and President Trump and his administration.
That's right.
We cannot have this persist. We certainly can't have it go into the next presidential election in 2020. The American people deserve better from America's premier law enforcement organization. And by the way, they get that from tens of thousands of rank-and-file FBI personnel who every day keep us safe, fight terrorism, solve crimes. They're doing their job, and they deserve better than to be besmirched by several people at the top of that organization who, thankfully, like Mr. Comey, are no longer, most of them are no longer there.
There may not be there, but many of them are still there in different positions, and they still have security clearances. Isn't that right, Congressman?
That is right, and those that are still there, based upon information I've seen, should be removed, and I hope that the Department and the Bureau are taking the steps necessary to finish that job, because it is very important that justice be served, and people who are not serving justice should not be in the Department of Justice or the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Congressman